This is Chat About It, the future of Internet radio. Don't just listen to Internet radio shows on business, sports, or politics. Chat about it.
So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is Mr. Media Interview. You know, MrMedia.com, MRmedia.com. Brought to you today on iPhones, Palm, Android, and BlackBerry by the Stitcher app for mobile devices. Mr. Media is also sponsored by thepartyauthority.us. Planning a wedding, mitzvah, or corporate event? For any and all occasions, call the Party Authority nationwide at 1-800-DIAL-DJs. That's 1-800-342-5357. One call does it all. Where was I before the commercial? Oh yeah, Mr. Media is recorded live from the new media capital of the world and hometown of Bill Kaysen, creator of Foursquare Day, Tampa Bay, Florida. A handful of people that social media aficionados and professionals follow religiously for their insight and direction. People such as Chris Brogan and Robert Scoble, for example. If you know who those guys are, you should probably also get to know Peter Shankman, if you don't already. Shankman is an industry unto himself, a networker of the first degree who has taken the practice of public relations and marketing online to new heights via his mastery of social media. He is best known in journalism circles as the founder of Help a Reporter Out, aka HARO. It's a repository of expert sources intended to help out last-minute reporting assignments. Journalists send information reports into HARO. More than 1,200 requests come in a week, and Shankman hooks them up. You can check out HARO at helpareporter.com or on Twitter at helpareporter. Now, Shankman also is the founder and CEO of The Geek Factory, a Manhattan-based marketing and PR strategy firm. Over the years, his clients have included Snapple, NASA, Walt Disney World, and many more. Now, here's a clip of Shankman in action from Roger Smith News' A Day in the Life clickable documentary, and you can watch the whole thing on YouTube. Oh, all right. Actually, I'm just being told that we do not have that video, so Peter, I hope you're ready for me. Welcome to Mr. Media.
Good to be here. Thank you.
My pleasure. Glad to have you. So, Peter, this whole internet thing, it's like over now, right?
You know, I last time I checked, people were still using paper and pen. It's who knew, right? We never expected that to happen.
I think I have a pen here. Here's a pen. Here's a paper though. Is it okay if I use one of my little SpongeBob SquarePants notes? Because that's all I have in the way of paper.
Go for it. Knock yourself out.
You know, we're so eager. It's such a fast-changing world these days. We're so eager to declare what the new hot thing is and what is over. I imagine there's people out there who are just dying to say that the internet is dead at some point.
You know, I think that's the biggest problem is that people say the internet's dead and they let go of everything they've already learned. Like, we spent, I don't know about you, but I started learning how to write and how to read and all that stuff in, like, kindergarten, probably nursery school. And the internet comes around and everyone says, oh, forget writing. It's all going to be, you know, digital and forget paper. And last I checked, when I went to the bank today to deposit a check, I had to write my account number. I didn't scan my retinas or anything like that. So I think the people that proclaim anything to be dead always need to check and see, hey, you know, is it really that dead? I mean, even the pundits were jumping about newspapers dying and things like that. You know, I don't know about you, but when I open my hotel room door every morning, there's no iPad in front of my hotel room door.
Oh, if only there were.
And let me tell you, when I check in, I asked for an iPad the next morning in front of my hotel room door, and yet it's still USA Today. It's not an iPad. So I think that, you know, we're sitting there and we're saying, oh, there are people who are saying, oh, it's going to end and get rid of newspapers and get rid of learning how to write. It's all going to be online. And that's BS. Everything that happens in the future and happens today with Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Google, it's just in addition to what we've already learned. And that's the biggest mistake that people make, I think.
I think we've seen. I mean, if people have any sense of history with regard to the media, I mean, we had movies and then radio, or radio and movies, and TV came along, and people thought it would kill radio. It just morphed into something else, and cable TV was supposed to kill broadcast TV. Again, it's just morphed into something else.
And hey, not for nothing, but every morning at 4:30 in the morning or 6 a.m. when I'm back to my run, and I'm jumping in the shower, I don't turn on my laptop in the shower. I turn on my waterproof radio and get 10 wins and hear my news. It's what works for the people who are using it, and we can't forget that.
I know the big thing that I'm very attached to now. This show was added to the Stitcher app, which we mentioned as a sponsor at the top of the show, and I didn't know that much about it. And now, whenever I walk the dogs or I'm in the car, if I'm not listening to Sirius, I'm listening to something on Stitcher. I've favorited all the shows that I like. Rachel Maddow and the Mike O'Mara Show and Chelsea Lately, and I check to make sure this show is running properly. And it's not. It's still radio. It's still entertainment. It's just I'm just getting it in a different form.
Different worlds. Nothing changes. Different worlds.
Well, let's do a little word association. I'm kind of curious to get your response on this, and you can give me a word or a couple sentences about these, and just whatever comes to mind, if you would.
Okay.
Let's start with the biggie: Facebook,
Twitter,
Twitter,
Google.
What about MySpace?
14-year-old boys and independent bands.
Pretty much didn't grow out of its infancy, did it?
You know what? A lot of times the first ones to market that really clear the path are the ones that get overrun.
Would you say, looking back, that Rupert Murdoch bet right or wrong on that?
I don't think. What did he pay? $500 million for that?
I think it was 6 something, but yeah, that's close.
He gives more as a tip to a stripper. I'm not really concerned about that.
Is that,
$600 million for Rupert Murdoch.
Is that a particular stripper?
Seriously, he's like, damn it, I should have had the steak instead of the fish. And it's for the $600 million he paid for that, that's not a big deal for him.
Okay, let's try a couple more here. I'm enjoying this. What about Google Buzz? What do you make of that?
Mistake.
Yeah.
I think that it was a great idea, but it was Google for the first time ever believed their own hype. They have a stock price of, I think it's 84 quadrillion megajoules per share or something like that, and they said, oh, well, we can launch Google Buzz, and it's not done yet, and it's not ready, but it's okay, it'll be fine. And they got bitten for it, and they learned a lesson. Of course, then they learned the same lesson with Google Wave, so maybe they learned 2 lessons.
I think you were reading my mind, because I was thinking that maybe Google Wave was the first time. I still I can't, and I love Google products. I mean, the MrMedia.com is produced on Blogger, and we went through the migration with them, and I'm a big fan of FeedBurner and Gmail. I teach a social media class for beginners, and I make sure that all the students get a Gmail account, and we take them through the processes. But for the life of me, I can't explain Google Wave in a sentence or Google Buzz. Well, Google Buzz maybe, but
I can only imagine that they have so many things they've done well that every once in a while they get these ideas where they're like, it's like Friday at like 4:30, and they're like, oh, what the hell? And that's what those ideas wind up being.
What about LinkedIn? Where does it stand after several years?
Oh man, today's their 7-year birthday. Strangely enough, and I am not a LinkedIn fan. My take has always been that if I want to see 30 people who you've asked to kiss your ass, I'll go to LinkedIn. But, for me, business is not about just business. Business is personal for me. It's kind of like it's the antithesis of what Ice-T said in in New Jack City. He goes, it's never business. It's never personal. It's just business. It is personal. And if I'm hiring someone and they're going to, my assistant Megan works 8 feet from me in my second bedroom, and I see her every day that I'm in New York, it's damn personal because she's there every day. I don't want to know just what other people she's worked for. I want to look at her Facebook page. If every entry in her Facebook page ends with, dude, you were so baked, I'm probably not going to hire her. I don't, if on LinkedIn, it's all about professionalism to begin with. So it doesn't really matter. I'm actually going to move because I'm on the west side of Manhattan and the sun is going down as we speak. So I'm going to move to a different place where there's more light. So hang on 1 second.
No problem.
Let's see if that helps a little bit. That's
we'll
you turn off the lights because there's such gorgeous light coming in from the Hudson River. There we go.
This is great.
If you want to see the view, it is a stellar.
Yeah, show us the view. Show everybody the view.
That is the sunset tonight over the Hudson River in Manhattan.
How about that, folks? Now, everyone who's watching this can see that except me. I can't see you and the view. The technology is not quite that far.
One night that I was actually in New York for a change, so you got the view.
Now, I will watch the replay a little later and check out the view. Thank you for that in advance, however.
Not a problem at all.
What about what do you know? What do you think about FormSpring, which the New York Times went after in a big way this morning? Does it? Do you know anything about it? Does it have any redeeming qualities? And I'd just like to say I don't think it does.
I from what I've heard, it doesn't. I have not done enough homework yet to know the answer.
We'll get back to you on that one then.
Definitely.
And before we take a break, one more question about particular services. AOL, and which of course you have original ties to, and Yahoo were both once the pretty much undisputed kings of the early web. Do they even matter anymore? And if so, to whom?
Well, there are enough people still using AOL that I think AOL matters just from an email standpoint alone. Yahoo, Yahoo had some great opportunities, and they capitalized on them in the beginning, and I guess they didn't do in the end. It was a bummer. But I think at the end of the day, there are enough outlets out there, enough people out there still using AOL and Yahoo. We can't write them off completely, but I don't think they'll ever be the power horses they once were.
And, if you have an AOL or a Yahoo address, does it kind of signal to people that a certain lack of sophistication about the ins and outs of the web?
Now it does, but I'll tell you a great story. Back in 1995, I actually had the email address peter@AOL.com. I was so new, I was so into that space that I actually had peter@AOL.com, and there were people, I couldn't use it. I had to use pshankman@AOL.com because there were so many people just joining the internet every day. When you worked for AOL, it was like you worked for the internet. It was like, you go to a big building every day that says the internet on the door, and you walk in there. And and that's where we worked. And so we had people saying, you work for AOL, you work for the internet, and then everyone else said, my friend Peter just joined America Online. His email must be peter@AOL.com. We couldn't use the email because it was constantly full. AOL only allows you to have 500 emails in your inbox at any time, and so it was always full. So every Friday at 4 p.m. in the newsroom, we'd open up a 6-pack of beer, and we'd read all the emails that were mistakenly sent to me. Let me tell you, there are some Peters out there doing some freaky-ass stuff. It's all I it was pretty awesome.
Let's that's a good place. Let's take a quick break here. This is Bob Andelman, and you are listening to the Mr. Media radio interview with social media networker and PR guy extraordinaire Peter Shankman of HelperReporter.com, Shankman.com, and The Geek Factory. And we'll be right back.
How do you spread the word? Send your message. How do you let people know about you, your business, what you have to offer? If you want to know the best way to reach your customers and grow your business, consider this. Almost 40% of the country doesn't get local cable TV. less than 50% of adults will open a paper today. But each week, over 90% of people over the age of 12 listen to the radio. How are you going to send your message? At CBS Radio, we're doing more to help advertisers reach their audience than ever before. With over 140 of the nation's hottest stations, on air and online, CBS Radio is the best way to reach your target audience and take your business to another level. CBS Radio. How far will you go?
You're listening to Chat About It, politics, business, sports, and entertainment. When it's time to chat, go to chataboutit.com.
This is Bob Andelman, and you are listening to the Mr. Media radio interview with social media networker and PR guy extraordinaire, Peter Shankman of HelpAReporter.com and The Geek Factory. Peter, I'm told by our crack production staff, and I mean that in a good way. I'm not kidding. There, they are great guys. That we have this video ready of you. This is a day in the life from, I believe it was, is it Rogers News Service? I don't have that right.
It was the Roger Smith Hotel, actually.
Roger Smith. Okay, that's it. Thank you. And folks, you can. This is just a portion of this. If you have an interest in Peter and you have not seen this, look it up on YouTube. And this is a day in the life, Peter Shankman. Check it out.
Howdy, my name is Peter Shankman, and I run Help a Reporter Out, which is the largest source repository in the world, connecting over 100,000 journalists and sources, letting small businesses all around the world get tons of free publicity, all for free. This is my carbon fiber bike. This thing is my travel bike, or my training bike. This one's my get around the city, get out of my way, or I'm running you over bike, which is awesome. But yeah, this is...
Are you a safe driver?
Yeah, so this is my baby. I've been running a PR firm for the past 10 or so years, and I have known more than that, close to 15 years now, and I've known journalists all my life, and they always call me and they ask, hey, Peter, do you know someone who does about this or knows about that? And I always say, yeah, sure, call this guy, because I talk to everyone, because I have really, really bad ADHD. If you're in PR and you don't know about Harrow, that's kind of like being a, wow, helicopter. Literally, it's right there. I always talk to everyone. And as such, everyone who I talk to, they always say, oh yeah, if you ever need someone for this, call that. So I put these people together, and when my Rolodex hit 10,000 people, it got a little too hard to do that. Good timing. Hey, anything that doesn't cost you to lose money is always a good start.
Peter, let's talk a little bit about Harrow, or HelpAReporter.com, Help a Reporter Out. How did AOL Newsroom in '95 lead you to this?
Oh man, I wish I knew. I was actually I had just left grad school in Santa Barbara, California, and I was moving back to New York. And I was hanging out in the Melrose Place TV Gossip chat room, which led to my getting a job at AOL. And 2.5 years later, I moved back to New York, and after AOL, and no one knew really what to do with me. You know, it's kind of like the girlfriend I have now. She has no clue as to what to do with me, but she just thinks it's sort of cool to hang out with me. And that's how companies were dealing with me. Like, well, you worked for the internet. We don't know what to do with you, so we'll just pay you to consult for us and tell us interesting stuff. And I thought there'd be a way to turn them into a PR firm, because at the time, no one really knew how to handle PR for the .com world. And so I came in and I said, well, you just have to be much faster, much quicker, and much more aware. And so I wound up consulting for a bunch of different .coms, and I started my agency in '98, and I grew it to about 15 people. I sold it in 2001 to a larger agency. That led to the Geek Factory, which is this huge agency that was acquired. Was consulting, was always talking to journalists, and always, they'd say, hey, we need someone who knows about whatever. Who do you know who does this or that? And I'd say, I'll call this person. And that led to people constantly calling me, and my building a website where they could just submit their information, send it to the right people, and we'd send it out. And now we have 135,000 members on Harrow. It's grown beyond my wildest dreams. It's doing really well. It generated $1.4 million in revenue last year. And I'm having a blast. And as an added bonus for your listeners, the sun is actually just going down. So you can actually literally just get the sunset. It's in another 10 seconds. It will be beyond Jersey, and I don't know what's beyond Jersey. I've been told very.
I'm from Jersey. Be careful.
It's just more of a turnpike, but apparently the sun is about to just go past the turnpike. So there you go.
Wow, how about that, folks? There are definite advantages from evolving this show from radio only to radio and video. Man, that is pretty cool. And now, $1.4 million. I mean, when you started this, were you thinking this was going to be more service or more income? Because
when I started, I was helping people out, and it was a great way to get my name out there. And then I remember it was actually really funny. We never started advertising until we get a call. I get a call in I think it was July of 2008 from American Apparel, and they said, hey, you have 15, at the time we had 15,000 people on the list. And hey, those 15,000 people, aren't they they're mostly PR people, right? I go, yeah. They go, aren't most PR people anorexic and wear our clothing? And I remember looking at myself going, yep, I'm Peter Moss Shankman over here. How you doing? You know, I couldn't believe that that's what they actually asked me. But that's what they said. So we had one ad, and since that day, me and my Kate Moss fat ass of a body has never been without a Harrow advertiser. It's been pretty amazing.
That's great. It's a great story. I love that. Now, what about do journalists? Do they resist or they respect the site, or does it even matter?
Journalists are huge fans of it, and here's the funny thing: other companies have tried to sort of steal what we have and take, create. We'll just buy a mailing list and journalists will come to us. Except for the fact that I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been consulting and I've been doing social media and I've been networking with journalists for 10 years to the point where we've built up a level of trust that journalists say, okay, we get that. He's not going to mess with our data. He's not going to, if we want to go anonymous, he's not going to share it. We're okay. And they trust me. And that's something that I've had. Harrow's an overnight success that's taken 10 years. No one else can say that.
Well, it is quite the success, and I want to make sure before we completely run out of time that I tell everybody you can follow Peter Shankman pretty much anywhere social media is found, from his website, shankman.com, to hireareporter.com, on through Facebook and Twitter, where he is known as Skydiver, so it's twitter.com/Skydiver. Did I miss any of the big ones, Peter?
No, that's pretty much it. You know what I'm getting really into? Plancast. If you haven't discovered Plancast, it's freaking awesome. You basically, anything you're doing, like tomorrow I'm flying to LA in the morning and I'm hosting a happy hour, and you just go to plancast.com/Shankman and it lists all of my events, everything I'm doing, right down the list. It's really cool stuff.
I will check that out. And Peter, listen, thank you so much for entertaining us, giving us the sunset, and for being
It's gone now. You see, it's gone now.
Thanks so much for being on the show today. We really enjoyed it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And folks, for more original interviews with America's social media and public relations pros, you can surf over to our main website, mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. And you can now hear Mr. Media while you're on the go with Stitcher Radio. Stitcher is a free news and talk mobile application. The latest episode of Mr. Media is always available for you, no syncing needed, and no memory wasted. It's available for your iPhone, your Palm Pre, Android phones, or your BlackBerry. Downloading is easy. Go to Stitcher.com or check out the App Store for your individual mobile phone. And please take advantage of this great offer for Mr. Media Radio listeners. Go to audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia to get a free audiobook download of your choice when you sign up today. Again, that's audiblepodcast.com/mrmedia for your free audiobook. Subscribe to Mr. Media on iTunes and you'll never miss a show. Just search Mr. Media Interviews from within iTunes and subscribe for free. You can also listen with a piece of string and a tin can in many locations. If you've got an idea for a guest, email me directly at bob@andelman.com. You can also follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, twitter.com/Andelman, or on Facebook, search for Mr. Media Radio Interviews. Thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you sharing a piece of your day with Mr. Media. Thanks for listening, folks. Come back soon.
You're listening to Chat About It, politics, business, sports, and entertainment. When it's time to chat, go to chataboutit.com. This is Chat About It, the future of Internet radio. Don't just listen to Internet radio shows on business, sports, or politics. Chat about it.